90-Day Fiancé. Sarper Güven's bad boy to good boy transformation is an act he will never change. Sarper Güven might have fans thinking he's gone from bad boy to dream guy, but not everyone's buying the transformation. The 90-Day Fiancé star made waves on The Other Way Season 5 with Shikina Garner, showing off his over-the-top confidence and controlling habits. From constantly reminding Shikina that he's been with over 2,500 women to nitpicking Shikina's appearance and weight, Sarper raised more than a few eyebrows. He may be turning on the charm now, but is it a real change or just a cleverly polished act? Sarper insulted Shikina in front of her sister, and during an argument that reportedly turned physical, he even pulled out Shikina's hair. His vanity was not the only red flag, there were many others that Shikina chose to ignore. Despite his behavior, she agreed to marry him and brought him to the US. Once in America, Sarper seemed to adopt a new persona. He suddenly became more likable to fans, while Shikina began to appear controlling. This drastic shift raised questions. Was Sarper's transformation genuine, or was it something he had planned all along? Sarper's jab at Dan was a low blow. Sarper is trying to distance Shikina from her friends. Sarper had his first stand-up comedy show in America in episode 13 and was full of confidence. With a colorful past and no work permit yet, he figured open mics were a good way to share his experiences and maybe earn some laughs. But Shikina had her doubts, warning him that what he found funny might not land the same way with an audience. She was right. Sarper's jokes, loaded with awkward sexual innuendos, fell flat. To make matters worse, he took an unnecessary jab at Dan, who had shown up just to support him. Let's imagine you are all sexually healthy and attractive men. Okay? Even you, Dan. Just imagine. I know it's hard. Shikina felt embarrassed by Sarper's unnecessary dig at Dan and wanted the awkward situation and the show to be over. While she tried to stay supportive, she made it clear that her friends were like her chosen family, especially since she had a strained relationship with her biological family. Dan was someone she deeply valued. She warned Sarper that if her friends started to dislike him, it would cause serious problems in their relationship. Shikina had been down that road before with exes who clashed with her inner circle, and, as she put it, it was hell to deal with. Sarper is still in America. Sarper threatened Shikina that he was going back to Turkey. Sarper had a good time in Montana meeting Shikina's family. He somehow managed to impress them and seemingly also fooled them into believing he had changed. However, once they came back to Los Angeles, Sarper got into a major argument with Shikina over practically nothing. He called her useless and said that her face was his problem, especially after Shikina had come home from a long day at work and cooked a hot meal for him. Sarper told Shikina, "I'm going back to my country." Sarper told his cousin that he'd almost even booked his flight tickets for Turkey. Interestingly, these events may have been filmed a year ago. Sarper is still in America, and from the looks of it, he is thriving. Now that he has a work permit, Shikina seems to have helped him get a job that he enjoys in Hollywood. Sarper does something called a boot laugh, which is a 1-hour non-stop dance and workout session with comedy, exercise, and dance. Sarper has made Los Angeles his home, and he fits right in, suggesting that all his homesickness and threats about leaving were just him creating drama. Shikina has made more sacrifices than Sarper. Sarper is playing the victim, he accuses others of doing it. Sarper made the environment in Shikina's house tense and awkward. She took him to some parties in LA to make him feel comfortable. However, things got bad when Sarper had one of his bad moods. Sarper did not acknowledge Shikina making such huge adjustments to her life for him to live with her. She packed her entire workspace and moved it out to a different space. Shikina couldn't even leave during arguments because Sarper was in America now, and he knew Shikina would have nowhere to escape to. Still, it's 90-Day Fiancé's Sarper who somehow gets all the sympathy. 90-Day Fiancé, Shikina's chaotic romance with Sarper's impacting her health, should they break up? The never-ending saga between 90-Day Fiancé's Shikina Garner and Sarper Güven continues to play out on the current season, with Sarper and Shikina's relationship going to another level as Sarper moved from Turkey to live with Shikina in Los Angeles. Sarper and Shikina first met on a dating app, and their story was covered on 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way Season 5, when Shikina attempted to live with Sarper in Turkey. Shikina and Sarper faced criticism over Sarper's controlling ways and the fact that Shikina's family didn't approve of him. On 90 Day Fiancé Season 11, Sarper is having a fish-out-of-water experience in LA, and it's having a major impact on his and Shikina's relationship. Sarper was a notorious ladies' man back in Turkey. He even boasted about having slept with 2,500 women before settling down with Shikina. It was very emotional for Sarper to leave Turkey, because he's extremely close with his parents. Still, Sarper chose Shikina and moved to the US for her. Shikina and Sarper just moved in together. Sarper moved into Shikina's small LA apartment. Shikina is a licensed skincare esthetician, and she operates a studio out of her small apartment in Los Angeles. When Sarper moved in, it became more cramped, and he didn't have the freedom to move about in the apartment, especially if Shikina was seeing a client. In order to help Sarper adjust to life in Los Angeles, Shikina decided to move her studio to a separate space. She said she was moving it in the hopes that it helps to improve the dynamic between she and Sarper. I want to make that sense of normalcy here in LA for him too, and so I decided to finally get a real office suite and make our home. Now that Shikina has an office that's separate from their living space, she's hoping that Sarper won't feel so stifled. She would make him leave the house whenever she saw a client, so he won't have to do that anymore. Shikina is making big sacrifices for the sake of their relationship. Shikina's family doesn't like Sarper. Shikina and Sarper have real issues. On 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way, Shikina's sister Sheria visited them in Turkey. Sarper failed to make a good impression on Sheria, and she left questioning whether his intentions with Shikina were pure. Sheria went back home and reported back to the family about Sarper's temper and the toxicity in his relationship with her sister, Shikina. Shikina's daughter, Sophie, now has a negative impression of Sarper based on her aunt Sheria's feedback. Sophie tells them that she wants to give her blessing, she needs more time. Sarper tries using his time in Los Angeles to make amends with Shikina's family, but it isn't so easy. When they go to Montana to visit where Shikina grew up, they meet up with 3 of her sisters. Sarper admits that he feels pressure to make this a Sarper redemption tour. I feel like an inmate going to his execution. Shikina admits that her sisters are protective, and they already have negative emotions towards Sarper, so it will be like an uphill battle for him to get their approval. Sheria said she hoped to see some growth from Sarper, who showed up to the meeting wearing an American flag shirt. Sarper's meeting with her sisters goes bust when he asks them if they have geisha vibes like Shikina, and then says that he preferred the old obedient Shikina. Shikina admitted she's losing her hair from stress. Shikina wears a wig. The stress of her relationship with Sarper is starting to weigh on Shikina. After a huge fight, Sarper told Shikina that if she broke up with him, she'd regret it forever. Shikina bristled at Sarper's comment, saying she's not some helpless woman. Sarper visited Shikina at her new office, and after getting jealous of her handyman's good looks, he asks if she's wearing the long blonde wig she has on for her handyman. Shikina said she's actually wearing it because she's losing her hair from the stress of moving her business and their relationship, so she wants to give her natural hair a break by wearing the wig. All of the fighting with Sarper and moving my business to a new location has been really stressful on me. I do feel like my body is reacting to that. I tend to lose my hair when I'm stressed out, so I've seen a lot coming off on my brush, that freaks me out. I'm wearing a wig to give my natural hair a break, not to flirt with the handyman. If Shikina is actually losing her hair from the stress of her relationship with Sarper, it's a major red flag. A person's body can have a physical response if they're in an unhealthy relationship, which appears to be the case with Shikina. She is very casual about stating that she's losing her hair, but if it's true that Sarper is the cause, she needs to take action and get herself out of this relationship. 90-Day Fiancé's Shikina Garner reveals huge new relationship update with Sarper Güven after hinting at split and confirming franchise exit. 90-Day Fiancé's Shikina Garner divulged a major update on her relationship status after claiming she was leaving the show amid hints at a split from Sarper Güven. Shikina and Sarper met in Turkey, and it led to the American woman moving to Turkey. He changed his ways for Shikina. Sarper went from being the bad boy who slept with over 2,500 women to becoming a one-woman man. However, since Sarper moved to America on a K-1 visa, he didn't feel appreciated by Shikina. In turn, the 90-Day Fiancé Season 11 star believed her partner could be more responsible in life. Shikina recently sparked split rumors with Sarper and was confident that they wouldn't appear together in any new seasons. Now she has a new relationship update. Sarper's latest Instagram update showed that Shikina may have been trying to mislead fans. His post was a Mother's Day message to the special women in his life. He wrote, "Mothers hold children's hand for a short time but their heart forever," in his caption, as one of the photos showed Sarper posing with Shikina and his mother at the Venetian in Las Vegas. In a different photo, Sarper stood next to his mother, casually posing in a tropical outfit. Shikina commented on Sarper's post by saying, "Love your sweet mama. Happy Mother's Day to her." What Shikina's Mother's Day comment means for relationship with Sarper. Sarper seems to be upset with what Shikina did. Interestingly, Sarper didn't tag Shikina in the post or mention her in the caption, even though the message appeared to be directed at her. While Shikina commented on the post, it doesn't seem like Sarper has responded yet. The two still appear to be at odds on social media, with Sarper possibly giving Shikina the silent treatment. He felt she never acknowledged everything he had done for her, while Shikina believed she made greater sacrifices and deserved recognition for them. Sarper began to regret moving to America, while Shikina questioned whether marrying him was the right decision. The couple appear to be married now, as Sarper arrived in the US in early 2024. However, Shikina's recent admission that their relationship hit a rough patch and that nothing about it has been easy, followed by her commenting on his post, seems unusual. Shikina might be trying to make amends for her past behavior by reaching out on Instagram and complimenting Sarper's mother. Our take on Shikina and Sarper appearing to still be together. Are Shikina and Sarper in trouble for breaking NDA? Sarper and Shikina's storyline on 90-Day Fiancé is still a work in progress. They did have an argument in a recent episode in which Sarper even threatened to return to Turkey, but they made amends. Shikina also shifted her office out of her house and supported Sarper's stand-up career. However, a lot may have happened since they filmed the show that fans don't know about. Since they are still together on camera, Sarper and Shikina could be pretending to be together in real life so that they don't break their contract. 90-Day Fiancé's Sarper's house cow obsession unpacked. I think it's adorable and says a lot about him. I must confess that Sarper Güven's touching interaction with the house cow on the recent episode of 90-Day Fiancé has led me to believe that he possesses more redeemable qualities than initially thought. He made his debut on 90-Day Fiancé the other way alongside his American girlfriend, Shikina Garner. Like many viewers, I originally assumed that this couple was simply using the show to boost their careers as influencers. My skepticism about their relationship grew even more when Sarper brought out a scale and measured Shikina's weight, stating his preference for her to be a certain weight. Sarper's affection towards house cow warms hearts. Sarper's true affection for animals shines through. While I may not be the biggest fan of either Sarper or Shikina, I must admit the recent episode showed some of their positive attributes. Their segment revolved around Sarper moving to the United States and discovering that Shikina's friend has a house cow. He knelt down and kissed the cow's face, displaying affection for the domesticated animal. Sarper told the 90-Day Fiancé cameras that it was the cutest thing he had ever seen, which really touched my heart. His reaction to the cow was likely the first big green flag I noticed about him. Sarper's politeness gets praise from fans. Sarper's grounded attitude catches the attention of viewers. I believe Sarper is already gaining fans because of his politeness. Recently, a Redditor, @ahavamicat, mentioned a change in Sarper's attitude, saying, "Could see was kindness and love from Sarper." Many others agreed that Sarper still possesses some goodness. I was surprised to see someone mention Sarper's past and provide insight into why he became a villain. Another Redditor wrote, "That fat insecure kid is still inside of him," suggesting that Sarper used the alpha male persona to boost his self-esteem. Fans believe Sarper is changing because he has finally found peace in his life and a reason to be himself. Sarper is finally shedding the villain tag. Sarper could become a beloved fan choice. A few years ago, Sarper characterized himself as a bad boy, often calling himself a red flag and reveling in his villain persona. However, I have noticed a change in Sarper over the past year. He now seems to have a newfound appreciation for life and is looking towards